Andrew, we've both been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you that today I actually leave work a little baffled because I take great joy in playoff victories. And for the first 30 years of my life, the Eagles stunk. And a playoff victory was like something that would have closed schools. I believe, and it relates more to your generation, that there's a lot of people who just can't be happy unless it means a parade.
No, I don't think this is like a generation thing, dude. I really don't. But I understand what you're saying. During the show today, it was insane the amount of negative replies we got from people today. A lot of you. All right, we're supposed to be the evil media. We're supposed to be the people that piss everybody off. And, we're doing the show talking about an Eagles victory. And I get it. It wasn't pretty offensively. Defensively, it was
spectacular.
It was beautiful.
Yes.
Offensively, it wasn't necessarily pretty. There's more that they can obviously work on for the next round. But I don't know if this is a generational thing. But you're right, John. I mean, it was insane today. The amount of people that were just disappointed with a playoff win.
I just look at it as generational because the 30 years that Jeffrey Lurie's on this team has been, for the most part, filet mignon and a good glass of wine every single night. And I think people don't celebrate. There's a big reason to celebrate that win yesterday and even more to think about this week. I'm looking forward to conversation all week.
But I think the point that you're making, the expectations thing, did yesterday scream like a team that could win a Super Bowl? I imagine a lot of people would answer the question with no, not if the offense looks this way. And as we talked about today, this season's not about winning a division and winning a wild card round. This season's about getting back to an NFC Championship game. This season's about winning a Super Bowl. So I imagine there are some people that watched that game last night and go, well, they can't win a Super Bowl playing like this, without thinking that they can look better next week.
I think they're going to look better next week. But tonight we find out. Your vote is?
I'm going to side with the Vikings more so because of what Connor said. And I can't believe I'm agreeing with Connor.
You're using Connor? You're citing Connor?
Well, no, the Sam Darnold thing. If you're telling me right now, Matt Stafford or Sam Darnold, Sean McVay or Kevin McConnell, I would be more worried about the team, the quarterback and coach duo, together, that won a Super Bowl.
Sure. And went to another.
And they weren't a 1 seed when they won the Super Bowl. They had to do some business on the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, they're going to come in. They're a battle-tested team, at least head coach and quarterback. So I would side with the Vikings, but I stand by it. It doesn't matter who. If the Eagles play the Vikings and lose, play the Rams and lose, it's a major disappointment. This season's going to end up being considered a failure.
Yeah.
This season's going to be something that we're going to leave a lot left on the table. So to me, it doesn't matter who they face, and I stand by saying that during the show today. But if I were to pick, if you're going to put a gun to my head, I would rather see the Vikings than the Rams. Now, explain yourself.
I want to see the Rams come in because I don't trust Matthew Stafford out of a dome in the cold weather. I know, and by the way, I know Matt doesn't like cold weather. But also, too, the fact is, I'm just going to look at it as this way: is Saquon Barkley's going to run for forever? They had no answer for Saquon.
None. You're right.
None at all. So I feel very, very comfortable with that. And again, like you, they weren't losing a home game. And I told you had to go to work on NFC title game Sunday. You got a pregame show to do, and we'll be talking about all week long.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun this week, and we're going to have all our guests for you. Jeff McClain's going to join us on Tuesday. Adam Schefter on Wednesday.
Amy Wednesday
for the entire 9 o'clock hour. Obviously, Andrew DeCecco on Wednesday now because he's got the expanded role. By the way, speaking of DeCecco, he was awesome today, and he too was perplexed by the Eagles fans, some of the Eagles fans' behavior today. Not all Eagles fans, but a lot of them. He is just football guy journalist, right? He's not an Eagles fan. He doesn't pick a side. He just appreciates good football. The guy's a robot when it comes to football. And he watched that game yesterday. Yeah, the offense should be better. He didn't completely rip Jalen. He ripped Kellen Moore, which we should talk about a little bit. He said that Kellen Moore's game plan was very confusing to him. And yet when we come on the air today, when he comes on the air today, and here's the texts and the calls that we got about how Jalen Hurts didn't stink, but now stinks. That's the weirdest thing. How can we go from a guy that we love when he plays well, and then it's that he totally stinks if he doesn't have a good game?
My biggest takeaway, though, still was, and I was glad when DeCecco brought it up today, he saw what I did from the press box.
Mm-hmm.
A.J. Brown does not look like himself. I think A.J. Brown he's injured. I don't think he's out that he can't play, but I think he's injured. And I think yesterday the Packers didn't respect the threat of A.J. Brown. They saw that he wasn't the same guy. We'll see if he seems different this week.
Well, and then if that's the case, the coaching staff knows that,
Sure.
right? So they got to start scheming up stuff for Devontae Smith.
And yesterday, they did yesterday in the
when
second
he did
half,
get the ball,
second half.
right? One target in the first half can't happen. If you know that A.J. Brown will be a non-factor, the emphasis throughout the week's got to be, all right, let's focus on, in terms of the passing game, because Saquon, the emphasis is going to be running the ball. But in terms of the passing game, the emphasis, it goes from A.J. to Devontae to Dallas Goedert. You have to start scheming up more stuff for Dallas Goedert as well, which they did also. But in the second half, the start of the game with Kellen Moore yesterday, maybe not the first drive because they scored a touchdown that
Sure.
way. But there were drives where you're running so well, and then you go away from it, and then they just completely stopped. You can't have a game where your quarterback has 39 passing yards into the third quarter.
Oh, no, but you can, because they just, for whatever reason, that was the plan yesterday. I have no idea.
It's
I have no idea.
unbelievable. But then that can't just fall on Jalen. It's not like
No.
Jalen was missing open receivers. That bad sack that we were talking about during the show today.
That was a bad moment.
Horrible
Bad
sack.
moment.
But nobody's open.
No, there was nobody open.
Like, whatever Kellen Moore was calling, maybe he just had a bad day.
Go to the hash, toss it out of bounds, live to fight another day.
Yeah.
Don't take the 13-yard loss or whatever it was at that point for Jalen. But look, Jalen did not have a terrible day. 10 for 12 from the pocket, 2 touchdowns.
Rex Ryan
I mean,
hates
come
that.
on now. I don't understand where that whole talking point came from, but we'll look forward to talking to you all week long. We got a championship weekend to get to. One little hurdle to go.
Yeah, and look, we find out tonight, like you said, it's going to be between the Vikings and the Rams, and it doesn't matter who. Honestly, it's the Eagles are going to win. Now, I'll ask you this: you were kind of questioning. I remember Connor brought it up. I agree with Connor again about that.
Okay, you need to be drug
Commanders
tested.
have no shot against the Lions.
I disagree with you. I think the Commanders will move the ball all day long in Detroit. But defensively, Commanders defense, I don't think will be able to lead them to victory. But no shot,
Dude, I'm going to say no
Never know.
shot. The Lions already at 8.5. I bet you that's closer to 9.5.
I'm not talking
maybe
point
10.
spreads. I would lean towards taking the Commanders in the points. I saw Tampa go in last year and play them to where Baker Mayfield had the ball in his hand with the chance to go win, to go to the NFC title game. So and there's a lot of expectations on Detroit. Maybe they're a little rusty.
Speaking of Baker, we didn't see the beauty of doing this on YouTube after the game, after our show. And the way, subscribe to everything, like everything. We appreciate you guys watching us on YouTube, listening to the show on 97.5 The Fanatic, listening to on the stream as well. We didn't get a chance to talk too much about it because we're so focused on the Eagles as we are a sports station in Philadelphia. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been like your boogeyman.
They were number 2 on my list. Detroit and Tampa Bay.
Which is crazy.
And Detroit was taken out. I'm so glad Tampa's done. And I did not want to see that because they have made Jalen Hurts look ordinary or below ordinary when they faced him. I don't believe that Minnesota will be able to do that to him, and I know the Rams can't.
Well, so now that's one of those teams that are out of there for you.
Sure. I know. It makes me feel much better. And a trip to Detroit, I wouldn't suggest it as a fun weekend getaway for anybody. But for the Eagles, it could actually end up being fun.
I would be prepared to go to Detroit. I think that's going to happen. AFC side, we didn't talk about at all.
I have a carry permit, so we're fine. We go to Detroit, I'll be fine. I got you covered.
Is it for other states, or
It's
is
like
it
Dirty
just,
Harry.
or is it just for Pennsylvania?
Well, we'll find out if I get arrested.
I don't know if you're allowed to just get on a plane and take it.
I can't do it on the plane. I have to.
Are you driving to Detroit?
I have to. No, I'm not driving to Detroit. I'll lose my
That's what
car.
I'm saying, dude. So
We can't do that.
I carry. I'm big tough
So
guy.
we can't
John
do that.
Kincaid.
Hey, pull up on me.
AFC side, it was chalk. It was chalk. I mean, the Ravens are.
Yes.
That was not even a contest.
How do you-
I know they made it in terms of the score closer in the second half.
Cosmetically.
It was all Ravens all game.
What coach could survive going 8 years without winning a playoff game and keep their job?
It's amazing.
Because I don't think there's any coach in the NFL, and I know there's one, Mike Tomlin, that has gone 8 years without winning a playoff game and has kept their job right now active. Marvin Lewis did it for 16. That's the kind of gig we all need. 16 years where he never does anything. But I would say with Mike Tomlin, and they were no match. They were no match. But the Eagles made the Ravens look so ordinary, and it just made me say, wow.
You know what's going to sound crazy?
What's that?
Mike Tomlin could also be his own worst nightmare.
What do you mean?
He's such a good coach that he can win games with the Pickett's,
Right.
Russell Wilson's, Justin Fields.
But
they're never bad enough to get a top quarterback.
And they're never good enough to get anything done come playoff time.
Right.
You know, honestly,
well, because that's what Russell Wilson's he's done.
Yes.
Right. So because they don't win, because they don't lose enough, they never had that top draft pick. Kenny Pickett's a first round pick, but they're not drafting in the top 5.
That Super Bowl's 15 years ago now.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That is wild.
That is wild.
Oh, listen, it was good to be back.
Nice to have you back.
You know, I was pretty banged up, but you know, I'm a tough guy.
I looked for that little COVID screen to do this.
We did not have
but
that.
I trusted.
No, I gotta here. Look,
I trusted it.
You're infected now.
It's touching me.
Everybody, thank you for checking out the show every single day. It's a lot of fun. Make sure you click, subscribe, like everything that's going on our YouTube feed, and we'll talk to you tomorrow morning again on Kincaid and Saltunis.
Hey guys, Andrew Saltunis from Kincaid and Saltunis. Thank you for checking out all of our stuff on YouTube. Make sure you click, like, subscribe on everything that you see. And of course, you can see everything from our YouTube feed. Full shows, interviews, When John's Being an Idiot, which is like 15 times a day. So make sure you check out all of our stuff on YouTube. We appreciate it.